There were 18,000 Lutheran pastors in Germany at that time. 18,000. The Nazis very quickly brought their kind of racial view of the world and every other thing to bear in government. They took away people's liberties. I mean, it was just dramatic, kind of like what we saw with COVID, just unbelievable governmental overreach, and just pushed and pushed and pushed. A number of pastors stood up and said, no. And they wrote this thing called the Barmen Declaration, where they made clear that the government, whether it's the Nazi government or any, has no right to tell us we're the Church of Jesus Christ. So they write the Barmen Declaration. About 6,000 of the 18,000 pastors sign it. By 1935, 2 years later, the government had been so wicked and had bullied people that many in the church, just like now, who had been initially brave, said, we're going to back up. We don't want any trouble. We don't want any trouble. So by 1935, 3,000 of the 18,000 pastors were standing strong. Only 3,000. On the other end of the spectrum, there were 3,000 that were 100% pro-Hitler. It's kind of like, you want to talk about it like a totally woke church today. So there are 3,000 maniacs, totally pro-Hitler maniacs among the Lutheran pastors. So 3,000 complete nuts, 3,000 heroes. But here's the key, and it's why I call the chapter 12,000 pastors. In the middle were 12,000 pastors who said, we're not going to choose. We're going to sit back. We're going to sit this one out. We'll let you guys fight it out. We don't want any trouble. And we think we have a biblical mandate for not being involved in politics. So we're going to be silent. We don't want to be divisive. We just want to preach the gospel. And you want to ask them, what useless, dead gospel were you preaching in your church that you did not speak out and take sides in a situation that would lead millions of women and children to their deaths in the death camps? And that's just one example of the nightmare unleashed by the Nazis because of the silence of the church.